For nearly 20 years, one financial rumor has refused to die. On YouTube, in forums, and in private chat groups, the same question keeps coming up. Is the Iraqi dinar about to revalue? Every single year, believers claim the same thing. The RV is imminent. The RV, short for revaluation, is the belief that Iraq's currency will massively and suddenly increase in value. Some speculators claim the dinar could jump from its current rate of around 1,300 to the dollar, all the way to $1, $3, or even more. If that happened, someone holding $1 million dinars, worth about $760 today, could become a millionaire overnight. That's exactly why this rumor never disappears. But is a dinar revaluation actually possible in 2026? Or is this one of the biggest financial myths of our time? In this video, we're going to break down the evidence. We'll look at what a currency revaluation really is, how Iraq's monetary system actually works, and what the Central Bank of Iraq is truly planning. This isn't speculation. This is a fact-based analysis. First, let's get one thing straight. A currency revaluation isn't magic. It's a government-controlled increase in a currency's official value, and it only happens under a fixed or managed exchange rate system. Many people confuse revaluation with appreciation. Appreciation happens naturally in free markets, driven by supply and demand. A revaluation is an artificial decision made by a central bank. Iraq uses a managed exchange rate, with the Central Bank of Iraq, or CBI, setting the price. Right now, $1 is worth about 1,300 Iraqi dinars. For the RV believers to be right, Iraq would have to suddenly change this to 1 dinar equals $1 or more. That would be one of the largest monetary events in history. Here's the problem. No modern economy has ever done a 100,000% overnight revaluation. Not China, not Kuwait, not Germany, not Japan. So why do people think Iraq will be the first? The belief comes from a few key sources, starting with the Kuwait comparison. This is the biggest misunderstanding of all. The story goes, Kuwait revalued its currency after the war. So Iraq will too. After the 1990 Gulf War, Kuwait did restore its dinar to a value of about $3.30. But this comparison is deeply flawed. Kuwait didn't revalue its currency. It reinstated its previous exchange rate. Before the invasion, the Kuwaiti dinar was already worth over $3. After liberation, they simply brought back the old currency. Kuwait didn't create new wealth. It just returned to its pre-war system. Iraq's situation is completely different. After 2003, Iraq printed trillions of new dinars, flooding its economy with cash. That alone changes everything. Another popular theory is the oil-backed currency idea. People say Iraq has huge oil reserves, so the dinar must be worth several dollars. And it's true, Iraq sits on some of the world's largest oil reserves. But natural resources do not automatically determine currency value. If they did, Venezuela would have the strongest currency on the planet. Instead, countries like Venezuela, Nigeria, and Iran have weak currencies, despite their massive oil wealth. Why? Because the currency's value depends on productivity, trade balance, economic diversification, and government stability. Oil alone just can't support a high-value currency, especially in a country like Iraq that imports most of its consumer goods. Then, of course, there are the internet intel gurus. Since around 2008, online personalities have claimed to have inside contacts and secret information about the RV. They say things like, banks are preparing for exchanges, or the rate is already live internally, or it's happening this weekend, yet year after year, nothing happens. To really understand if a revaluation is possible, we have to look at how Iraq's currency system actually works. The Central Bank of Iraq uses something called the currency auction window. This is the most important piece of the puzzle, and almost nobody talking about the RV understands it. Every day, the CBI sells US dollars to local banks and importers. Businesses in Iraq need dollars to buy goods from abroad: cars, electronics, food, you name it. The CBI exchanges their dinars for dollars, which stabilizes the exchange rate and prevents runaway inflation. This reveals a critical reality. Iraq's economy is heavily dependent on the US dollar. If the dinar suddenly became equal to the dollar, imports would collapse, prices would go haywire, and the entire government budget would fail. The CBI knows this. So what is the real plan? Iraq has repeatedly announced a project called deleting the 3 zeros. This is not a revaluation. It is a redenomination. For example, a 1,000 dinar note would become a 1 new dinar note. This doesn't change your purchasing power or make you rich. It just simplifies transactions. Turkey did the same thing in 2005 when it removed 6 zeros from its currency. Your wealth stays the same. But many speculators confuse this project with a magical revaluation. It isn't. One of the biggest obstacles to a real revaluation is the sheer amount of money in circulation. There are tens of trillions of Iraqi dinars out there. If Iraq made 1 dinar equal to $1, the total value of its currency would instantly become larger than the entire global economy. That's mathematically impossible. Iraq's GDP is around $250 to $300 billion. It simply cannot support a multi-trillion-dollar currency valuation overnight. Many rumors also claim that the IMF is forcing Iraq to revalue. In reality, the IMF usually recommends the exact opposite. It encourages exchange rate stability, gradual adjustments, and banking reform. Sudden, massive reevaluations are dangerous because they destroy a country's ability to export and create massive black markets. The IMF's goal is managed stability, not overnight wealth creation. So, could a revaluation happen in 2026? Overnight RV, where the dinar goes to $1 or more, is extremely unlikely. It defies all modern economic principles. However, a slow appreciation of the dinar over many years is possible. But that would only happen if Iraq successfully diversifies its economy, strengthens its banking sector, reduces corruption, and expands its non-oil exports. This would be a gradual process, measured in cents over years, not a sudden jump to dollars overnight. The dream of an instant lottery win is tempting, but the facts point to a much longer, more complex journey for Iraq's economy. Thanks for watching, and if you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of finance.